Exchange and expectations. These two words perfectly described how the psychopath character trait operates. People with this predominant trait naturally are leaders, strategically persuasive, and incredibly negotiators. If you recognize yourself in these qualities, or you know someone like this, stay with me. We are going to explore how this trait shapes the way you relate, feel, and think. My name is Claudia Fischer. I am a body behavior analyst, and my mission is to help women to live aligned with their true essence, integrate body and mind to awaken authenticity, emotional independence, and a life filled with real connection and fulfillment. If you are new here and haven't heard yet about character structure analysis, go back and watch the first 3 videos in this series. There, I explain how your personality is shaped from the intrauterine stage all the way through your first 5 years of life, and how all these early experiences still influence the way you think, feel, and connect today. With no further delays, let's start to dive into the third character structure to be formed, the psychopath trait. In our last video, we talked about the oral character trait, which connects to the world in a deep and emotional way. But the trait that we are exploring today, the psychopath character structure, has a very different relationship with emotions. In fact, this structure and emotions don't really have that much space at all. This trait begins to be formed when the child starts to take the first steps, roughly between the first and the 2.5 years of life. And as you may remember, every character trait is born from existential pain, a moment of a deep discomfort that shapes how you learn to survive. From the psychopath trait, this pain comes from the fear of being manipulated or used. Imagine a small child who starts to realize that people don't always look at them just because they care. Sometimes, something is being asked in return. At this stage, the child is becoming more independent. They can walk, explore, and interact with the world more intentionally. The close symbiosis with the mother begins to fade, and the child starts to connect with other people. But with that new autonomy comes a powerful discovery. If I can't do everything by myself, maybe I can find a way to make others do it for me. That's how the defense mechanism of this trait manipulates through 3 main strategies: commanding and imposing authority to fear to get what they want, seduction using charm, intelligence, and articulation to make others want to do what they want, and victimization, acting hurt or helpless to shift the reaction of others and get attention or support. It's not about being bad, it's about survival here. These strategies worked once. They guaranteed attention, care, and connection. And so the child learned, when I act this way, I matter. This trait is extremely rational and strategic. Everything runs through a filter of exchange and expectation. That love and value depends on performance or delivery, never just on being. Imagine a little one who is praised only when they make people laugh or perform in some way. They start to feel invisible when they simply are. They grow up thinking, if I'm not doing something, I'm not worth anything. And that's where the pain lives, but also where the power begins. Because the same drive to deliver and lead and make things happen becomes one of the strongest resources of this character structure. When the psychopath trait is living in its resource, it shines. This person learns to interact and negotiate with people in a way that helps them to get exactly what they want. Not by force, but through strategy and connection. When they are balanced, they naturally seek to stand out. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually their superpower, the ability to bring people and resources together to reach a goal. They understand the value of fair exchange. They can manage expectation clearly, and they can communicate a win-win situation with everyone involved. You can expect leadership, practicality, and confidence from someone with a strong psychopath trait. They know how to make things happen, and it's really important to demystify something here. These characteristics don't make someone bad or manipulative by nature. Just like every other character trait, what matters is whether they are living in the pain or in their resource. When they are in pain, they might manipulate or control just to get even, using power as a weapon. But when they are living through their resources, they use the same power to create clarity, build solid plans, and lead people towards a result that benefits everyone. The difference is not in the trait, it's in the state. Let's talk about the body structure of a psychopath trait. The energy of this character type is concentrated from the waist up. That's where the strength and presence structure lives. You can actually see it in the body. The upper body is broad, solid, and powerful, while the legs tend to be thinner, tapering down towards the feet. The head, often shaped like a triangle, wide at the top and narrowed near the chin, giving an impression of focus and direction, almost like the energy is moving forward. From the waist up, everything about the posture say, I'm here, I'm strong, I take space. The shoulders are wide and the chest open and firm. The stance confidence, almost like they want to look bigger than they already are. Their eyes are intense and sharp, like they are scanning or evaluating everything around them. You can feel that penetrating gaze, like I see you, I'm ready, and I'm reading you. The hips are narrower than the shoulder. And the legs, especially below the thighs, tend to be thinner and less grounded, giving the impression that all the energy is directed upwards towards action, thought, and expression. Everything in the body, language, and body communicate dominance, presence, as if they are built to lead, to influence, and to take control of their surrounding. For the psychopath trait to live in its resource state, the person needs to feel a certain level of control in their hands, when they can make decisions, organize, lead, and negotiate. They become alive. That's when they use their natural ability in a powerful way. They have a deep desire to live fully, to be recognized not only for what they do, but for who they are. However, when they feel indebted, trapped, or like they own something to someone, they can quickly fall into pain. In that state, they might start to over-control everything around them to avoid powerless feeling. When they are living their resources, this character type can bring people together for mutual benefit. They are great of making decisions, and especially in moments that require quality than emotion, rather than emotion. But here is what you shouldn't expect. Don't expect to show emotion without clear reason. Don't expect them to do the work completely alone or thrive in environments where they don't have autonomy. That drains them deeply. What they truly need is recognition, to feel seen for their abilities and respected for their results. They can struggle emotionally charged environments because they rely more on logic and strategy than on feelings. When you learn to recognize value in our resources, we naturally find more balance in whatever we do. There is power in knowing ourselves, especially in understanding the parts of you that needs to be in control. When you learn how your strategy, strengths, and emotional distance were once forms of protection, you stop judging yourself and start mastering the way you are built to be. Real freedom begins when control is no longer about fear, but about conscious choice. You start to live, not just surviving. If you are ready to reclaim that power with clarity and purpose, visit our website and join our WhatsApp community group. The next version of you, powerful, grounded, and emotionally free, is already waiting. See you soon.